Peyton Watson.
Peyton Watson, officially a McDonald's burger boy. How does that feel? How are you feeling right now?
Just feeling super proud of myself. Super grateful, super blessed to be in the position that I'm in with the family and the people I have around me. To finally be able to say that I'm a McDonald's All-American after years and years of dreaming about it since I was a kid. I've known and I've told myself my entire high school career that this is my goal for high school. Apart from winning state championships and things like that, this is my individual goal, and it's crazy to think that we finally got here.
How much has it been your dream? I mean, obviously the game's been around forever. When did you start thinking about it? When did you start realizing it might actually happen?
I gotta think I've been dreaming about being in the game since I was like at least 5. Me and my parents, we used to always watch the game. My pops would always tell me about all the players playing, how good everybody was, and just growing up every year, it was kind of like an annual celebration that we watched the game. And I dreamed to hopefully be there one day. I didn't really start thinking I could really be a part of it and really do something with it probably till last year or a year and a half ago. For a while there, I'd lost hope that I was gonna make it because it's one in a million chance you make it, and there's so many people out here with this goal. So for me to be on that short list of people is super crazy thing.
Were you aware that your mom told your high school coach, Shelton Diggs, that you were going to be a McDonald's All-American before you had enrolled at the high school?
Yeah, she's been telling me the same thing. She's my #1 fan, always believed in me, and always knew that I was going to be great. So it was just up to me to put in the work, and God's grace giving me these God-given abilities, and I just put it all together, and we made it.
You and I have talked a couple times about what this year's been like for you guys, and I mean, you were supposed to have one of the greatest senior years in Long Beach high school history, socially and athletically. What does it mean to get this one thing, at least a senior? You could say, like you said, at least this was on the list and you got it.
I'm just glad to be acknowledged as one of the top players in the country for my age. I mean, This is no validation for me because I feel like I'm #1 regardless. I feel like I'm the best player in the country. So this is just kind of other people acknowledging my talent as well. And we just take it as it's just the beginning of whatever we're doing. And we can only go up from here.
So we were good.
So tell me about, Peyton said, he's had faith and everything, but you have to tell the story of telling Shelton Diggs, his high school coach, that this was going to happen, frankly, before it made sense to tell him that it was going to happen. Yeah, wait, tell me that story.
So Peyton was 13. Peyton was 13, and we were trying
14.
to figure out, no, it was 13.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was just prior to going to the
prior to
9th
going
grade, so he was only 13. We asked Shelton if we could meet with him at Long Beach Poly. We were trying to get a feel for Poly. Even though it was our home school, we didn't really know that much about the program. And we were kind of trying to figure out what high school we were going to go to. Shell kind of reluctantly agreed to meet with us. He met with us. We kind of just talked about the program and kind of what our goals were. And while we were in the meeting, I said to Shell, like a fool, I said, Shell, my son has this dream of being a McDonald's All-American. Is that something you think could happen here at Long Beach Poly if we were to come here? And he kind of looked at me, really, actually without pause, he said, well, that's going to be up to him. That's not really up to me, but I'll do everything that I can do to help him, get there. Yeah. And then years later, I guess, a few months ago, kind of when the talk of him potentially being a McDonald's All-American came up, I brought that up to Shell. I was like, Shell, did you think I was crazy? He was like, nah, all the parents say that.
I love it. Julio, you talked about just how crazy the journey's been with some of the twists and turns over the last few years. Can you just, this is one of those moments when all that stuff probably kind of comes back to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that, and people ask my opinion now with smaller kids or kids that are in middle school, And I just always tell folks that, don't get bogged down in, the disrespect, or my kid isn't getting the tweets, or my kid isn't ranked as a middle schooler.
Yeah.
It really is a long process. So like when I think about the journey, I think about all of the steps. There's several steps. And some of the steps were, he had 36 in the Fairfax, Summer League in one of the games. And some of the steps are he had 2 points and missed every shot that he took. In a game, I don't remember what that game was. And we were kind of like, wow, what's going on? So there's always steps, and each step is a learning process. So if you're committed and you continue to work and work behind the scenes, I think anything is possible. Now, obviously with this, you have to have a certain level of ability. It helps that Peyton is tall and athletic, but I really feel like above everything, the work ethic along with the talent, you can, in the right mind frame, right? You can get to wherever you need to be. And then I would say lastly is having people in your life that care for you and they're going to tell you the truth. I always tell parents, if you're trying, no matter what your kid is, if your kid plays piano, if your kid is a trampoliner, if your kid is a scientist, there's some uncomfortable conversations. If you want them to be great at something, there's some uncomfortable conversations that are going to need to take place. And as a parent, you can't be afraid to have those conversations, right?
Or have your kid fail.
Or have your kid fail.
Have your kid
That's
face adversity.
It's a big part of it. So, yeah, that's absolutely right. It's a big part of it. And I think a lot of us as parents fall into, we want to protect our kids. Me too. I do too. But I realized at an early age, if both the boys, Peyton and Christian, were going to be exceptional at anything, or even good at anything, they were going to have to fail. They were going to have to prepare, and they were going to have a good attitude, and they were going to have a support system.
And develop some resilience,
Develop some resilience. And that's kind of the biggest thing. And I think you're seeing kind of a lot of those concepts converge, and here we are. And this is, by the way, I would say, we're not even close to where we want to be, but this is just a nice feather in our cap moving forward.